and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, my lovelies, listen up very carefully. I've said this before about the DSA. They're a branch of the Democratic Party. And the NPCs, the National Political Committee, the people who are in charge of it, decided to, this is the NPCs right here. They don't look like the classic NPCs, but the National Political Committee of DSA decided to resolve to remain a faction of the Democratic Party. Indy, there's no hope, is there?
I'm shocked, I tell you. By the way, Eric London did some great reporting on this convention. He's got a bias, and
of course
we appreciate that bias in this case because he's looking at them with side eye, and he's looking at them skeptically, and he's questioning what the heck is going on here, because really there's very few organizations or people that will write a piece like this that breaks down exactly what happened step by step and why this is destined to fail, and it's just a shepherding operation.
Mm-hmm.
So please take it away.
So let's talk about it. At the Democratic Socialists of America's August 4th to 6th convention in Chicago, delegates gathered in person to restate the organization's half-century commitment to promoting the imperialist Democratic Party. By a vote of 704 to 184, the convention passed a resolution on its electoral work, which declares it is not advisable for us to form an independent political party with its own ballot line at this moment. So that means vote blue no matter who, poor people. Stay in line with the Democratic Party. Don't challenge Nancy. Don't challenge Biden. On a basis, the delegates resolved the DSA commits to making electoral politics a priority for the next 2 years. That means being pragmatic with the Democrats. That DSA will continue to pursue an approach of tactically consenting partisan elections on the Democratic ballot line, and that DSA will allow for more volunteer involvement in a national electoral work to promote the Democratic Party in the 2024 national election. The convention consistently rejected several amendments that would have held DSA elected officials to even the mildest political accountability, exposing that DSA's claim to be left of Democrat is merely for show. As we have said, as Jimmy Dore has said, as RBN has said, as INN has said, DSA, I know that there are probably some smaller factions within DSA that do good work, but honestly, at this point, wasn't the whole point of you guys forming that little fantastic club of yours to be something different? But it tells me again that probably as soon as old hagbag Nancy gets upset at anybody at DSA falling out of line, she calls the National Political Committee and say, hey, you know who butters your bread, right? So delegates rejected by a 60 or 40% margin a proposed amendment to the electoral resolution, which would have added language that is DSA expectation that socialists in elected office will vote and act in accordance with core principles of the socialist movement, which they never did. Case in point, forced to vote. For those of you who don't know, forced to vote was a tactic from, Indy, can you guess who?
The DSA handbook. I believe it was from 2019.
What? Say it ain't so. That's right, my lovelies, my mornings, my sunshines. DSA were the ones who came up with forced to vote. And of course, Jimmy Dore got vilified because he wanted to, hold the squad accountable for their, rhetoric. But I guess DSA will never be the ones to admit, excuse us, pardon us, but we were the ones that actually came up with, the whole idea of forced to vote. Though this amendment also acknowledged that a majority of DSA members do not believe it is possible at this time to form an independent political party with its own ballot line, delegates evidently still found it too extreme. In rejecting the proposed amendment, the DSA resolved to support Democratic politicians no matter how right-wing they are, and as explicitly stated, its hostility towards socialism. The rejected amendment would have required DSA to hold its members accountable if they vote for measures which expand to strengthen the police, vote for any restrictions on independent action of the working class, such as right to strike, or vote for military budgets, the imperial war machine, or military aid to U.S. client states, such as the apartheid state of Israel. A further member-proposed resolution would have required the DSA Political Committee to publicly communicate disapproval to endorse candidates and elected DSA members who explicitly or tactically support centrist leaders of the Democratic Party. AOC, But this language was removed before the vote. The Social Majority Caucus, a group representing the most explicitly right-wing faction of the DSA, tweeted that its caucus is excited that the provision would force DSA to criticize socialist electeds who endorsing centrist candidates was eliminated.
Wait,
DSA
stop, please stop.
Go
ahead.
up,
scroll up, because you just said something kind of important that you scrolled over. Socialist Majority Caucus, which is the most explicitly right-wing faction of the DSA. What the hell is a right-wing faction of the DSA? And this is the first time I've heard it publicly acknowledged at all,
Holy
whatsoever,
shit.
as a caucus.
Damn, that actually did fly over my radar. What the fuck? So I didn't mean to swear. Sorry about that. But what the hell? God damn. The Socialist Majority Caucus? They're the right-wing faction of the DSA?
But they're not actually socialists because they're right-wing Democratic socialists. Now, I want to say one thing.
Democrats. That would make them Democrats through and through then.
100%. But they aren't too embarrassed to call themselves Democrats, which is why they call themselves DSA and then vote Democrat. But I do want to make one correction, and I've seen people post this, that DSA members, like in Pittsburgh, for example, they align with Pittsburgh Greens more. So they can potentially align with an independent or third party. But what this says is that they're not going to form their own independent third party. There is language. Now, 98% of the time, they're going to probably funnel it toward the Democrats, and they're going to say vote blue no matter who. And this is stunningly accurate. However, I do know that there is at least one case, and they've been screaming about it out on Twitter, and I want to give them a shout out and acknowledge that and make the correction that, yes, DSA does make this thread of a needle that they can, if they want to endorse Cornel West for president, they can. That's basically what this language also says. So they're not going to. They're gonna turn around and go for Grandpa Joe and Creepy Hands Joe, but they can, and that means that this allows us to further hold them accountable to why they're not doing that, and that they're even more of a shepherding party. But
let's also check this out here too, because again, I want to pull up this tweet here. Glenn Greenwald, this is correct. Neither Bernie nor AOC have been minimal problems for the Biden-Harris administration. I'm going to add in Harris because she's part of it. Congrats to Bernie and AOC on being so cooperative. Who everyone said would be problems under Biden presidency versus who actually have been. See, AOC and Bernie, and then it turns out Cinema. Oh God, that's an ugly picture of her. Yeah, no, and yes, I know I'm being mean. But also, shout out again to Compton J, who's been calling out DSA hypocrisy by a vote to 704 to 184. The convention passed a resolution on its electoral which declares it's not advisable for us to form an independent political party with its own ballot line at this moment. And then finally, here, listen. Before we continue on with the rest of that article, I just want to share this. So this is the NPCs. They don't look like NPCs, but this is the NPC of the Democratic Socialists of America, 2023 to 2025. Look at all these people. Look at all these lovely people, right? But here's the thing. The comment section, it's pure gold. From Luis. Nice DNC committee you've got there.
Chicago's own Luis Figueroa.
That's
and
right.
INN's Luis.
That's right. We also got
INN, friend of the family.
Richard Dick Whitman, who says the NPC Council. NPC is a perfect acronym from Queens of Hearts. Hold on. There's more, my lovelies. The DSA, the party that wants your government to be only a corporation. Professor says, what is Ahmed looking at? What is that? Hey, what are you looking at, buddy? That's a nice beard, though. Good beard game you got. Is this AI generated? Hold on. It gets better. Continue, man.
It might well be. Okay, you got Ukraine flags in there. They must be in support.
The new DNC subcommittee.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody says, might want to check that acronym there.
Right? Like that joke writes itself.
But there's a little bit more. Hold on, what else we got here?
I'm sure they're wonderful, nice people.
All good people. Hold on. It says too many whites. What?
What?
Well, okay. I only see one white guy there. The rest is diverse, but NPCs. Okay, they're all NPCs. DSA leadership also blocked debate on several member-proposed resolutions that would have been extremely hostile to U.S. imperialism. At the onset of the convention, DSA leadership put forward a proposed agenda that did not include debate on proposed resolutions calling for the DSA to oppose the U.S.-NATO war against Russia, opposing DSA elected officials supporting the Israeli occupation of Palestine. I remember this was a big deal in 2018. There was the boycott, de-invest, and sanction in the 2018 convention. That was a huge deal. And in fact, during the 2018 Illinois governor's race for the midterm, there was one candidate, Daniel Biss, right, who was looking for a lieutenant governor to run with. And he picked Alderman Carlos Rosa, who was a through and through member of DSA. But then Daniel Biss dropped him because Rosa was in favor of the BDS that DSA was supporting, and that caused like a huge, like, because originally Daniel Biss had a huge support from DSA, and then that dropped because he didn't want to be associated with the with DSA's policies or perspectives on Palestine and Israel. So that is interesting. DSA, you changed your tune. Do you remember that when DSA carried that, the BDS? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So while DSA leadership claimed that there was no time for such discussion, there's no time. The proposed agenda included ample time to debate a resolution making an image of Rose holding a vote sign for DSA's official mascot. So we got time to hold a rose, but we don't have time to talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This was so naked.
They did declare up above. I think they did declare it apartheid at least, but they didn't like. Yeah. Okay.
My God. This was so naked in an attempt to suppress debate that it produced a certain level of dissatisfaction among the delegates. One DSA member wrote in a leaflet distributed to the delegates that the leadership was placing a handful of uncontroversial elements on the consent agenda in order to ensure that we will have precious few opportunities to debate the burning questions of our movement. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. People who have their ability to think critically in DSA, your times are numbered. Abandon ship while you still can. The leaflet continued, if those who bemoan the public spectacle of conflict that occurred in the Jamal Bowman affair believe that they can avoid it by suppressing important debate at the convention, they will find that suppressing the power of membership to shape our political strategy will only result in dozens of more blowups of this kind. When the membership voted by a narrow margin to reject the leadership's proposed agenda, the leadership updated the agenda, but not to include discussion resolution regarding the war in Ukraine or Israel occupation of Palestine. Instead, the leadership allowed for debate and discussion on a resolution calling for support for the rights of transgender people. Wow.
Ukraine? They won't even talk about Ukraine? $100 billion dump of cash.
Wow.
Wow. That to me is the most disgraceful, just as bad. And again, they acknowledged apartheid, but we will not discuss Ukraine whatsoever. Why? Because it's not convenient.
Well, it's not only that, but again, look, if this is the committee that's deciding what DSA's policy is going to be, right? This is the NPC. This tells me not only are they willing to compromise their values and DSA's supposed values, but they're going to try and sheepdog many of their members into voting for the Democratic Party in 2024 because they are afraid and triggered by a certain former reality TV show, Donald Trump. That's it. They're afraid of Trump. Again, he lives rent-free in these people's heads. I can't take any of these people seriously. If this is the NPC, and again, looking at them, I can tell they're not going to think critically. They're not going to challenge the administration. But hold on. We got AOC to talk post-colonial foreign policy on Democratic's trip to South America. Hey, AOC, why don't you talk to the Convo Couch? Talk to Pasto or Fiorella about Central and South America and colonialism. Oh, see, look, AOC announced she's going to Brazil, Chile, Colombia. Listen, Brazil, Chile, Colombia. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but don't let AOC in your country.
You know who's in Brazil?
What's up? Who? Oh, yeah, Nico House. That's
our friend Nico House.
Nico. Oh,
you know who else is there? Glenn Greenwald.
Oh, my God. Listen, we got to get the word out to Glenn and Nico. All right, we got a homework assignment. I got a homework assignment. All right, listen up, folks. We got to let Glenn and Nico know as soon as possible that AOC is going to be coming there. And if she's going to be like at like a convention area or somewhere where they're like the press can interview her. Yes, we got to make this happen.
Oh my God! Could you imagine Nico House at this point challenging AOC in person?
Oh my God! Yes. Get word to Nico House. To all my commanders, get word to Nico House.
Send the word out there to the troops.
Definitely that. Oh my God! Do you have any idea how viral that video will go if Nico House interviews AOC and calls her out? Like if there's at least a 5-minute video, and she'll look like a deer in a headlight. Hey DSA, that's your heavyweight champion AOC.
She'll have a heavy guard and escort, and they'll get her the hell out of there real fast if that's the case. But it'd be fun to see.
Man. Okay, well, so what do we learn here? We learned that DSA will compromise itself up the wazoo for the Democratic Party. We learned that DSA is still triggered by Donald Trump. He lives rent-free in their head. We know that DSA doesn't read its guidebook. Case in point, Jimmy Dore taking up force to vote, something that DSA should have been, in theory, in support of, but they weren't. So what does this tell you? What, Indy, what do you think people should understand about DSA? I'll give you the final word.
Independent and proud is all I have to say.
As you should be, as should all of us.
Exit the duopoly. Exit the duopoly.
Oh, DSA, what a disappointment you are.